This is your 10-minute bedtime stretching sequence. Start by sitting on your mat with your legs folded in a comfortable position. Place your left hand on the mat, lift your right arm overhead. Lifting up and over, bend over towards the left and place the left elbow down on the mat. Now take deep breaths into the right side of your rib cage. Try and keep your right sit bone connected to the mat so that your pelvis doesn't rock over towards the left side. Keep lengthening through that left arm and keep taking deep breaths into the right side of your rib cage. Now come up to the center and switch to the other side. Left arm goes up overhead, lifting up and over. Take a side bend, place the elbow down and start taking deep breaths into the left side of your rib cage. Again, try and keep the left sit bone anchored into the mat. And think lifting up and over. Last couple of deep breaths here. And then come back up to the center. Let's now cross one leg over the other leg, placing the ankle on the knee. Keep both feet flexed for knee support. Now lengthen your spine forward. If you feel like you can deepen into the stretch, place the elbows down on the mat. And if that feels comfortable, curl the spine all the way over. And again, take deep breaths here. We're aiming for about 5 breaths in each position. And slowly roll your spine up. Let's switch to the other side. So switching legs, bend the other leg in, place the opposite ankle on the top of the knee. And then again, lengthen your spine forward till you find the stretching point. Then place the elbows down. And if you can, curl the head and shoulders over. Take deep breaths into the back of your chest. And just completely relax into the stretch on every exhale. And coming up out of the stretch. Let's now go into a spinal rotation stretch. So bring the top foot onto the floor and fold the bottom foot in towards your sit bones, placing that top sit bone down. Wrap the opposite arm around the knee and place the other arm fingertips on the mat behind you. Lifting up through the spine, rotate into the stretch. Keep lifting up through the spine in this stretch and gently pull that top knee in towards your chest for a nice deep glute stretch. Take deep breaths and on every exhale try and deepen a bit further. Let's switch to the other side. Fold the top leg under and the other leg, place the foot on the mat. Wrap the opposite hand around that front knee. Fingertips go on the mat behind you and then lift and rotate the spine into the stretch. Take deep breaths here, checking that both sit bones stay on the mat and gently pulling that front knee into your chest. And then gently coming out of the stretch back to the center. Let's now go for our butterfly stretch. Sitting tall with the soles of the feet together, gently pulse your knees up and down to release in the hip joint. Then we're going to lean over to one side, place the elbow on the knee, place the palm of the hand on the other knee, and press that knee towards the ground, leaning away from that arm. Just feel that stretch in the right groin. And coming up, let's switch to the other side. Place the other elbow on the knee. The palm of the opposite hand goes on the knee and you lean away from the straight arm, pressing that knee towards the floor. Take deep breaths here, gently easing that knee closer to the mat. And coming to the center. Now let's take the inner thigh stretch. Lengthen your spine forward over the feet. Place the elbows down if you can and curl the head and shoulders towards your feet. Take deep breaths here. On every exhale, just allow your body to melt a little bit closer towards your feet. And then recover your spine up. Let's deepen the inner thigh stretch. Straighten your legs out at about a 90-degree angle in front of you. Lift up through your lower back and lengthen your spine forward between your legs. Again, if you can, place the elbows down, place them down. And if you can, lengthen your crown of your head towards the floor. Curl the spine forward. You should be feeling a stretch on the inner thighs. If you want to deepen the stretch on the hamstrings a little bit, flex your feet strongly. And again, take deep breaths here. And recover the spine upwards. Let's now move into our hip flexor stretch. So come to a kneeling position with your front foot a little bit ahead of your knee. Spine is upright. Make sure that your tailbone is ever so slightly curled under. Bring your hands onto your front knee and then lower yourself forward into the stretch. Taking care to keep your tailbone curled under, your abdominals drawing in, and your spine upright. For this stretch, we're not aiming to go as deep as we can into the stretch. We're trying to stay as upright as we can to really stretch the hip flexor. Now let's go into the hamstring stretch. Recover the hips back over the supporting knee and then lengthen your spine forward over the front leg. You may need to place blocks or a couple of books under your hands if you feel like you cannot lengthen your spine this low over your front leg. Take deep breaths here and lengthen from the tailbone out to the crown of the head. And coming out, let's switch to the other side. Again, kneeling, placing the front foot a little bit ahead of the front knee. Curl the tailbone under, place the hands on the front knee and lower yourself into the stretch. Taking care to keep the tailbone curled under, the abdominals drawing in and the spine upright and lengthening upwards. Now into the hamstring stretch. Bring the hips back over the supporting knee. Lengthen your spine forward over the front leg. If you can get your hands onto the mat, place your hands on the mat. Otherwise, place a block or a book under each hand. And lengthen your spine forward over your front leg. And recovering up out of the stretch. To finish off the sequence, come onto your back, bend the knees, allow the knees to fall out with the soles of the feet together. Bring the right hand onto the chest and the left hand onto the belly. Allow the elbows just to lie down onto the mat. Now start taking deep breaths here, feeling the belly and the chest rise as you inhale. And as you exhale, just allow the belly and the chest to sink back down towards the mat. Now gently bring the knees back together. Take one arm up overhead and roll towards that side. Spend a moment here just focusing on the breath. And when you're ready, help yourself up to a seated position. Now you are ready for bed.